So it's time for another gardening week video, and I love this time of year, not because of the sowing, because as everybody knows I'm not a massive fan of sowing things, but I love growing seedlings, I love planting things, and I love to see kind of vibrant healthy growth. And in the polytunnel, in the low tunnels and the coal frames, it's effectively March now. Light levels are a bit low, but it's still really nice and warm in there. They're well protected from any winds and things like that. They're not protected from frost, but that doesn't matter because nothing that I've got on the allotment at the moment minds an occasional sort of 1, 2, 3 degrees centigrade frost. So yeah, it's just a really nice time to be gardening because I've got loads of time, and so I'm able to get ahead. And you'll see that kind of a theme as I go through this week. I've been working on getting ahead. So first thing on Monday, started preparing for my late spring summer planting of the winter squashes, which I'm going to be planting into my paths this year. And so digging big holes in the wood chip paths, putting plant pots in ready to be just taken out, and then new plants popped into the gaps. And I'm putting these halos in to the paths to kind of hold back the wood chip from the stems and just make watering easier, and everything just looks like really nice, neat and tidy. And so I've done 1, 2, 3 of those, and they're all looking pretty good, so I'm quite happy with those. So Tuesday was all about cycling really for me. Went up the coast, had a really nice time, and then got the garden sort of sorted out, gave the lawn another cut, prepared all the beds that I'm going to be planting in March. That's always a really nice thing to do. It's really nice to be sort of preparing beds ready for planting, and yeah, so I'm really excited about that. In those beds will go lots of salad crops, salad onions, lettuces, radishes, those sorts of things, spinach, like that. And what else did I do? Oh, compost. So I've now finished my spring composting, so pretty much all the beds are mulched that can be mulched. I've used all the compost that I've got available, so a cubic metre of compost I have available for spring, and I've still got 2 compost bays, one for summer next year, one for autumn next year. Turn those over, and so they're all in their final resting places effectively now. That left me another empty bay, which I filled with horse manure and lots of green waste off the plot. And I'll continue to turn that, and each time I turn it 2 or 3 times, I will add more green waste to it. So it's always nice to have all your compost bays all full and cooking. And it's just starting to raise its temperature now. It's about 40 degrees, ended it a couple of days ago. And so hopefully it'll get sort of 50, 55, which would be great at this time of year. And I do like it to cook pretty well because these bays are full of stable bedding, and horse manure has a lot of weed seeds in it, so it's nice to have that done. Wednesday I was out in the hills hiking again, and I really think I did very much gardening outside, but I did pot on all of my first batch of sweet peppers, and they're looking really nice now. And I did a video about that as well, so I'll leave that for the details of that for the video. But I also pricked out loads of seedlings and things, so there's a lot going on. I've got quite a lot planted this week actually, and I'll just put the details up down the side there so you can see. Everything I did last week is looking really nice. I've had no losses from any of those beds. Everything's starting to grow nicely after this disruption of the planting. And the things that I sowed this week, they're looking pretty good as well. So quite happy with that. And I'm down on the plot today, and it's Thursday, and I've just been putting in my shallots. So golden gourmet shallots. I've left quite a big space between them. So I think I planted them about sort of 20 centimetres apart or thereabouts. And that left enough space to put salad onions in between all of them. And so the salad onions, maybe it's slightly too early for those. I would normally put them out in March, but I looked at the long range weather forecast, it's looking pretty good, so I took the risk and put those out, and I put them under fleece. I'll leave them under fleece for probably about 6 weeks, and by then they should be fairly big and looking good, and they'll come out about sort of May time, early June, no, May, I think May. And so that'll leave plenty of kind of uninterrupted space for the shallots to grow on. And you know, I've got about, I think I'm going to put 36 shallots eventually in that bed. I didn't have quite enough today, and so that should give me a really good crop. And I'm growing more of true shallots this year. So I've always grown loads of the French shallots, the sort of banana shallots, Zebrun type. I think of those really, they're more like an onion that tastes a bit like a shallot. You know, they have a growing pattern like an onion. And they keep well, but they don't keep as well as a true shallot. And I think just by growing more shallots, that'll sort of take the pressure off us trying to store onions until we get our new crop of onions in sort of late April and May time. So I'm just going to grow a few hundred shallots just to kind of fill that gap. And so that, I think, is pretty much it. Might get a little bit more done on Saturday. I'll talk about that on Saturday. And then we'll do the harvest. Should be a pretty good one this week, actually, because we didn't do much of a harvest last week. So we've kind of accumulated a little bit of surplus. The lettuces, though, are still struggling to put on a lot of growth. It's just that time of the month, really. Pretty soon, 1 or 2 weeks time, they should really kind of start growing quite actively again. So here we are with the harvest. Not a bad one for winter. A bit short on lettuces for our friends and family, but we've got loads in ours and all these extra ingredients. So let me take you through the details. So we've got loads of spinach and more spinach under there, and garlic, parsley, Jerusalem artichokes, Brussels sprouts and colettes, purple sprouting broccoli, gorgeous carrots, beetroot from the store. I actually did a video all about what's in the store and published that last week if you want to look at that. Mix of onions and shallots, potatoes, yacon, and then we've got the mixed Asian greens, and this is a particular beauty, this one. This is Vibrant Joy. Just look at the colouring on that, absolutely. It's a stunner, just like this dazzling blue kale, and all this curly kale, Tuscan kales, parsnips, baby leeks, crown prince squash. We've got a few little squash as well, but and a few more crown princes, and then tatsoi, loads and loads of tatsoi at the moment, and the first pick of the year of the field bean tips. And then these are the kind of salad toppings. So we've got winter miner's lettuce or Claytonia, lamb's lettuce, salad onions, baby spinach, and more baby spinach. And I've just got to put these toppings on and the bits and pieces that we buy from the shop, and then all those salads will be ready for packing. And we keep those salads in the fridge in these boxes, sealed airtight, and they keep easily for a week. In fact, I was eating one that was 10 days old a couple of days ago, and it was still pretty good, almost indistinguishable from freshly picked. So there we go, that's this week's harvest. So hope you like this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Kitchen Garden and Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.